Hello, students of class 10th. Let us continue with the chapter. We will be doing mineral based industries today. So, the mineral based industries are quite different from the agro based industries because here the commodity will not become rotten or it will not perish or it will not lose its freshness, and the mineral based industries are generally, most of them are using very heavy bulky raw material. So most of these mineral based industries are mostly situated close to the source of raw material, or some of them are situated close to the market. Now let us come to the first one, that is iron and steel industry. Now iron and steel industry is a very important industry, and its presence is considered as an indicator for economic development. The more the iron and steel industry in any country, the better will be the country developed. So it is a very important industry, and we find all the developed industries, they have very much well developed iron and steel industry. India is a country which is very much rich in the resources that are required for this industry. We are very rich in the raw materials that are required for producing iron and steel. Now, this industry is a basic industry because it produces raw material for many other industry, and this is also a heavy industry because the raw materials are heavy and the finished product is also heavy. And a huge number of industries, whether it is a heavy industry, medium or light industry, they are all dependent on iron and steel industry. So steel, we all know, is required to produce different goods. Even the simple needle that we are using in our homes, or the utensils we are using at home, the iron rods which are used for the construction purpose, the heavy machineries that are used in the different industries. There are machineries used in the electronic industry, in the scientific equipment industry, even the defense also requires. So this iron and steel industry supports a host of other industries. That's why it is a basic industry ranging from different varieties of engineering goods, construction, defense, medical, telephonic, scientific equipment, and a variety of consumer goods. And as I've said, the more the iron and steel industry in a country, the better it is considered will be the economic development of that country. Now, this industry uses some bulky or heavy raw material. Some of the basic of raw materials are iron ore, coking coal, limestone or dolomite, manganese. All these are required for this industry. Iron ore is required because from iron ore we will be taking out iron. Coking coal is burnt and heat is produced, and that heat helps to melt this iron ore and take out iron from it. Limestone is a fluxing material which is used to take out the impurities from the ore. So limestone is a fluxing material, and manganese is used to harden the steel. And one thing is very important, as this industry is using bulky raw material, heavy raw material, the finished product is also heavy. So very good transport network is required to collect the raw material and as well as to take the finished product to the market. Now, our country, India, ranks a very important position, and it is fourth among the crude steel producer and also the largest producer of sponge iron. See, sponge iron is also known as directly reduced iron, and it is used as a substitute raw material for the small mini steel plant, for the small steel melting mini steel plant. Now, in your book, children, different stages are given for iron and steel industry for steel production. First, the basic one, that is raw material, is transported to the plant. And in the raw material and in the industry, there is furnace. So, in some of the steel plants, they use electric furnace at present, but the big ones, they use furnace where this coking coal is burnt. So when this coal is burning at a very high heat, iron ore is poured into it, and the iron ore melts, and the limestone is also added. So limestone is added to take out the impurities. Impurities here means the other minerals which are present in that iron ore. So along with iron, the other minerals are present. So to take that out, this limestone is added, and the impurity is the waste material. So that is the slag. So the slag is then removed. After limestone is added, the waste solidifies, and that solidified waste, which is known as slag, that is removed. Now, whatever comes out, it is in molten form, and it is known as pig iron, and it is poured in huge molds, and those molds are known as pig. Now, again, some material, some impurities may be remaining. So again, that impurities are removed further by still heating, melting, and oxidizing the impurities. It is taken to a certain point that all the waste material, the remaining impurities, comes out. And after that, manganese, nickel, chromium, all these are added, and the steel is hardened. The final stage is shaping of the metal. The shaping of the metal is done through rolling, pressing, casting, and forging. So these are the different stages in the production of steel. In our country, children, there are 10 primary integrated steel plants, and there are numerous mini steel plants. Now, these integrated steel plants are huge steel plants, and they are the ones who do every stage, who carry out every stage of production, from collecting the raw material. They have blast furnace, they process this iron ore, take out iron, and produces this sponge iron and scrap iron sheets, and all this material is produced by these integrated steel plants, and then they are marketed either to some other industries or to some other country. They are exported. In our country, there are 10 primary integrated steel plants, and they are Burnpur, Durgapur, Bokaro, Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bhilai, Vijayanagar, Bhadravati, Visakhapatnam, Salem. Now, out of all these plants, Jamshedpur is in the private sector. It is owned by our TISCO, Tata Steel, and the rest of them are under the Steel Authority of India Limited. Now, you will find that there is a tremendous concentration of iron and steel plant in the three states, that is West Bengal, then Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. Now, it is the zone where we find that there is huge concentration of the raw materials that are required by this industry. So we have a tremendous concentration of this iron and steel industries in this zone. So almost we have Burnpur, Durgapur in West Bengal, Bokaro, Jamshedpur in Jharkhand, Rourkela also in close proximity in Orissa. So this zone is having coking coal, iron ore, limestone, every raw material that is required. So there is huge concentration here. Also the transport communication is more or less developed. It is close to the Kolkata port. The labor is cheaply available. Dense population is there in this zone. Bhilai is in Chhattisgarh, and this is also dependent upon the iron ore that is present in the Baladila range. Coal is also available close by in this zone, and we have 3 steel plants which are away from any source of coal. Vishakhapatnam is dependent upon the port facility, Vishakhapatnam Iron and Steel Plant, and also the iron ore from Baladila range. It is exported to Japan through this Vishakhapatnam port. So it depends upon that iron ore, and some coal is brought from this nearby areas, nearby states. Vijayanagar and Bhadravati is totally away from the coal deposits. Now they are mainly dependent upon the electric furnace, and this electric furnace is dependent upon the electricity supplied by the Shiva Samudram or the Jog Falls. Shiva Samudram Hydroelectric Power Station, Vijayanagar and Bhadravati. Salem is also away from this raw material, but lignite is available close by, so it also depends upon this lignite coal field. Apart from that, our country is having several mini steel plants. The mini steel plants are smaller units. They do not collect this iron ore and coal for processing. They already buy the processed iron and steel from these big plants, like they will buy this sponge iron, or they will buy these bits and pieces of iron from these big integrated plants, and they will shape it according to the requirement of the market. And so they do not require location close to the source of raw material, and they are of different sizes. Some units may be bigger in size, some units may be smaller size. So they produce just simple mild and alloy steel ingots. What are steel ingots? Steel ingots are brick shaped lumps of cast metal. They are simply brick shaped lumps. Now this industry has flourished in our country because of the presence of raw material. India and China both are producing almost the same quantity of iron and steel. China is the world's largest consumer of steel. In our country, just now as I have said, Chotanagpur Plateau is the area where we find the maximum concentration of iron and steel industry. Though India is producing so much of iron and steel, India is having so much of raw material to process, but still there are some problems in this industry. First thing is that our coking coal is available only in Jharia. So there is limited availability of this coking coal, which is used in the blast furnace, and because it is available in limited quantity, hence the cost is high. Secondly, transport bottlenecks are there. All the raw materials are heavy, so movement of traffic is bit slower. So this transport bottlenecks create difficulties in supply of raw material as well as in marketing. Then power supply is also another issue in our country. In the iron and steel industry, continuous power supply is required because blast furnace cannot be shut down. And if blast furnace is shut down, it will take a huge length of time to again reheat. So for 24 hours, the blast furnace is working, and the people working in the iron and steel industry, they have to work in shift, so that for 24 hours this industry is running. So irregular supply of energy is also a major issue in our country, especially for the mini steel plants, because the mini steel plants do not have blast furnace, they have electric furnace, they run with the help of electric furnace. So it is important that especially for this iron and steel industry, the power supply is maintained. And of course, poor productivity of the labor. The laborers are organized in trade unions, and they try to uh, shun from their work. They are not very much interested in their work. So labor productivity is also hampered. As we as a country, though we are producing so much of iron and steel, but still we have to import very good quality steel from other countries. Very recently, liberalization and foreign direct investment has given a boost to this industry, and many private entrepreneurs from across the world has set up iron and steel industry in our country. And even within our country, there are some private producers, private steel producing units in our country. And for many, you must have seen the advertisement in the TV. They give advertisement in TV. So like Jindal steel unit is there, then Lakshmi Mittal steel unit is there. So in this way, there are many units which have been set up by private entrepreneurs. Many NRIs have also invested in setting up iron and steel industry in our country. And there is need to allocate resources for research and development to produce better quality steel and to export that steel to other country. Now children, in my class I will give you the notes based on the difference between the mini steel plants and the integrated steel plants. Thank you children. Have a nice day.